Hello Pisces, and welcome to your February 2025 tarot card reading. Let's go ahead and get started here. Oh, that one clearly wanted to come out before I even started shuffling. So let's see what comes through. Okay, so we have a card that says prosperity lies ahead, which obviously is a very exciting message to get, which really says that things are moving in the right direction. Even if there are hardships and obstacles that you're really dealing with right now. I know right now, end of January, beginning of February, we have Venus coming into her pre-shadow phase. She'll actually be pre-retrograde all of February, so the whole month. And because Venus is such an important planet for you, as she is your exalted planet, and she actually will later on retrograde back into Pisces, you're probably going to feel the effects of this quite substantially. But if there are any setbacks, or if there are any obstacles, or if there are any issues that you're needing to contend with, just know maybe this is the validation or the assurance that you need. Just know that there is something much, much brighter and much, much better on the horizon here. Okay, now we're not trying to just kick the can down the road, but it just says, there's literally the word ahead is in that card, right? Prosperity lies ahead. So it is more further down the road, okay? But let's see what else comes through for you, Pisces. We have a panther spirit, and it says reclaim your power, which maybe this is one of those opportunities where you have to really take it back. And maybe you were giving too much power to other people or other things or circumstances or something like that. And it's time for you to kind of take it back and get that burst of empowerment to make big and bold decisions so that you can kind of expedite this prosperity. It probably is going to require some risks. It is going to require some losses or some sacrifices. Now, sacrifices was a really big theme actually in January, because in January, that was when the North Node came into Pisces, okay? And as it came into Pisces, it immediately came to this conjunction with Neptune, which is where it is at the beginning of February. And I think we're still kind of seeing a continuance of that theme as well, that there are things you're going to have to let go of, mindsets, patterns, people, places, things. You're going to have to release those things so that prosperity can come in. If you are hanging on and clinging, you don't actually really have your power, because you're giving power to those people, places, things. And you don't need to be doing that right now, okay? All right. Let's see. Oh, I love this. This matches the Panther spirit so well, because the Chariot card is a card of empowerment. But the thing with the Chariot is there's also a lot of effort that needs to be exerted, all right? We can't just sit back and, I think once we hit Pisces season, there's a little bit more room for kind of the more metaphysical stuff. Pisces season is often very magical, as it's the season that precedes the equinox. But we're not quite there yet. We'll get there end of February, February 18th or so. So the beginning of February, I think we have to really start to exert effort into our goals. We have to start doing things in a physical way. You can work on the energy, you can meditate, you can work in the metaphysical realm, you can do all of those things. That's all wonderful and good. But I think when the Chariot comes out, it really suggests physical effort and physical endeavors. All right, so we have to move our body, we have to do the things, and we have to do things. We don't just want to plunk through them, right? We don't just want to like meet, kind of go through it in a really basic way. We want to really show up and show out, okay? We're inviting prosperity into our life, which means we have to act prosperous. And if we are shrinking or operating in kind of a weak type of manner or a weak spirited manner, that prosperity, it may still come in. And prosperity is very open, right? We can describe that in many different ways. For some of you, it's financial. Others of you, it's maybe, having children. For some of you, it's moving to a new city or getting a new job, whatever. But I feel like those things are just going to just drip in as opposed to come in with a bang if we're kind of operating in that weak way. I'm not saying it won't come in at all. It's just kind of, wouldn't we rather have it happen a little bit more powerfully as opposed to just kind of leaking in a little bit? I think with the Chariot card, there's an indication of your readiness for the big change. And but again, it's going to require big actions from you. This is not something that the universe is just going to grant you. Okay, this is where you start doing the work. And I think you have a little bit of stubbornness or stuckness here with this Four of Coins, where you may feel like you are clinging on to something. That's kind of what the reclaim your power is. I really want to make sure that you're not giving power to external things right now, or giving power to things that you think are so important. Like, for example, I had a client once who was kind of in a not ideal part of the world. There was a kind of a war zone kind of thing going on, and politically things were starting to get a little crazy over the years, and she really was like, well, I don't want to leave this home. I don't want to leave this home. I don't want to leave this home. And it was all about this house. And the messages kept coming through. It was like, no, we really need to, you can do what you want. Obviously, you have free will, but the cards are really suggesting that movement is inevitable at this point. And it was like, nope, I'm not leaving, I'm not leaving, I'm not leaving. And then finally, after a really long period of time, she ended up having to leave, but it was more of a forced. She was forced to leave. And it was a lot more complicated at that time. And so, this is, I don't want to see you getting yourself into a complicated mess when you could just leave things behind right now. Because this is going to be more in your control. You're going to have more say-so. You're going to have more input. And, as opposed to being forced to do it later on, where the universe basically kind of shoves you into a new reality, why not embrace that new reality wholeheartedly so that you can introduce as much prosperity as possible? Because that's where you're headed, that's what you want, that's what you're looking for, and that's what's lined up for you. But if we stay here and we say, well, I want all this prosperity, but I'm not willing to give anything up to create space for it, then there's not going to be any space for it. It's like having a closet that is jam-packed, and then you go shopping and you buy all these new clothes, but now there's nowhere to put it, so they just have to sit on the floor, right? It's like, well, that doesn't make a lot of sense, right? Let's get rid of the things we're not using, or the things that are obsolete. See, a lot of movement, I'm telling you. Six of Swords, Eight of Cups, there's clearly, now this could be metaphorical movement, where it's maybe more spiritual, more emotional, something like that. But it could also be physical for many of you, where you physically have to relocate or something along those lines. But I'm really seeing Pisces leaving some type of important comfort zone that has been important for a long time. And I don't think it's easy. I think it's actually very, very difficult. But this is the way that you have to reclaim your power. I do see you putting yourself in a scenario that probably is a little bit scary. It's scary. You may have a little bit of imposter syndrome, where you're like, well, I really don't know if I'm ever going to succeed here. I don't know if I'm good enough. I don't know if I'm qualified enough, whatever. But I think you have to put yourself in those scenarios specifically to stretch, right? You have to stretch your experience, stretch your soul, stretch your abilities, your talents, all those kinds of things. And I think it is time for Pisces to start making some big moves, okay? Because I look at this Four of Coins, I'm like, I don't think that's serving you very well right now. I don't think clinging on like that is going to be beneficial, and I don't think it's going to take you where you want to go. So there has to be an embrace of something that is different. Now, I love the Lovers in the center of the reading, but it does suggest big choices. Okay, that's the number one definition that we get when we talk about the Lovers card is choice. And that there are often major, major crossroads that come through when the Lovers is present. Now, the fact that we also have the Strength card, Strength and Chariot together are a formidable pair, okay, a pairing of cards. Because this one has a lot to do with the external will, right? That ability to wake up and get everything done and make the phone calls and go to the places and do the things and invest the money. And there's a lot of masculine energy here with this Chariot, where with the Strength card, this is more will, like internal will. So you really, when you have both, you do become an unstoppable force, which means pretty much anything you do is likely going to work out. Okay, but it's going to require a massive investment from you, Pisces, in order to start seeing the new wheels of momentum starting to spin. Six of Swords, Eight of Cups. I just want to reiterate, and I've said it 5 times already, but I just want to reiterate that you're moving. Okay, that there's a movement here. And the point of February is to get you away from where you are and get you closer to where you want to be. That is the point. Okay, now throughout February, we have some big turnarounds. Okay, we have Jupiter turning around, stationing direct on the 4th. We also have on the 23rd, let me make sure I have the date right. Yes, the 23rd, we have Mars stationing direct in Cancer. So with Gemini and Mars, 2 very masculine planets, now starting to move forward again, this makes a lot of sense. I think we're all going to start feeling some movement. Now, keep in mind, in February, there may still be some kind of a lurching effect because, of course, Jupiter is the beginning of February, Mars stations at the end of February, and it's not like we snap our fingers and boom, all of a sudden everything is moving forward perfectly. There's going to be some time in between. And also during this time, don't forget, Venus is in her pre-shadow in a Mars-ruled sign of Aries, where she will retrograde at 10 degrees of Aries on March 1st. So a lot of Mars energy is it's very prominent right now. There may be a need for communication here and collaboration and working with people, informing people of what you're doing. I think informing people is really, really important. I don't think you need to be making moves in secret. I don't think you need to be doing anything behind the scenes. I think making things public and broad, like, hey, family, hey, loved ones, hey, spouse, hey, best friends, this is what I'm doing. And I think to a degree that's going to help with the accountability factor as well. Let's see what else comes through for Pisces. Okay, because all of this seems to be driven by the big picture. Now, the fact that the King of Wands came out at the very last, on the last row, which the last row, now I don't typically read with like timelines or anything like that, but usually I typically see the last row as kind of being later. Okay, so later. So this is a monthly reading. So by the time we hit Pisces season, so once the sun comes into your sign, there's going to be a lot of very big picture energy for all of us, specifically for you, because it's you. I think the North Node being in Pisces is big picture enough, but now we come through and we amplify that with the sun, and eventually Mercury will make his way in there too, and then Mercury will start to retrograde and be involved there at some point. But I see that big picture being so strong for you, and I see the questions of how the heck am I going to get there. The thing is that I think you have a generalized idea of where you want to go, and I don't think you need to have the exact steps or the exact strategy right now. I think right now you can operate a little bit in the haze, a little in the fuzziness. You can do that right now, Pisces, and still make big leaps and still move forward with things without really knowing exactly how all the pieces of the puzzle are going to fall into place. Now, with the North Node conjunct Neptune, that's just the nature of North Node conjunct Neptune. It's just a bit hazy because that's how Neptune is. It's kind of like when you have a glass of water and you stick a straw in it, the way the light bends in the water versus in the air is different. We can see that difference. And so I feel like right now things are just kind of being bent, like the way we're seeing it. The light is being bent a little bit. So we know it's there. We know there's a plan. We know we can get there. It's just not entirely clear. There is kind of a blurriness to it, but that is okay. We can deal with the blurriness because it kind of taps into our more adventurous and wanderous spirit, and it really forces us to have faith at that point. So I think right now, Pisces, we are being forced to exhibit faith, and we're being forced to exhibit faith through surrender, through sacrifice, and through these big leaps, through all this movement. So it kind of goes hand in hand. And I look at the Six of Wands and I see clear victory. Like this is going to work out for you. We have prosperity lies ahead, and then we finish the reading off with the Six of Wands. So there really doesn't need to be any concern, okay? This is a soft landing for you. Okay, this might be kind of scary. We'll see what the clarifiers have to say for the comprehensive reading. We'll see what the clarifiers have to say, but I think in this set of 9 cards, these are the scariest ones, quote unquote, and they're not even scary. They're not these big bad wolf type of cards. They're just like, hey, Pisces, there's movement on the docket for you. It's time for you to start transitioning in a big, meaningful way. Because look, we are no longer in that place where we are straddling between worlds. That's like the whole of 2024 was that we were straddling between worlds, right? We had Pluto going back and forth for the very last time between Capricorn and Aquarius, and we're not there anymore. That's not the environment. So North Node in Pisces, Pluto in Aquarius, now it's more about where we're headed, where we're going, and it doesn't really have anything to do with the past at all. And I think this is a time for us to really let go of many, many things in the past, and even Annie seems to agree, to let go of many things of the past so that we can, you know, kind of just have the life that we always envisioned. Especially if we've experienced blockages with our manifestations, if we've struggled to create the things that we were hoping to create. You better not lay down on my cards. Okay. So let's go ahead and see what comes through with the clarifiers. Okay, so we're going to pull out a whole bunch of new cards, 27 cards, 3 cards per card. We're going to talk for another 25 to 30 minutes about all these cards in the comprehensive reading. So if you want to join, the link will be in the description box and the comment thread down below. Okay, so we start with the 8 of Swords for the Chariot, the 6 of Coins, and the Queen of Swords. And then we get the World card. Okay. What else for Pisces? Hermit. And the Ace of Coins. Okay, very happy about that Ace of Coins. It feels like a really strong opportunity that's going to present itself through February. Now we have the Magician, 3 of Wands, and the 3 of Swords. I think one thing that makes a person powerful is their ability to absorb the losses. Now we have the Queen of Wands, we have another Strength card, and we have a King of Cups here. So now for the Lovers, what does Pisces need to know for the Lovers card here? We have the Knight of Cups, the Queen of Cups. Oh, a lot of court cards there. Okay, all 3 court cards. So let's see what else for the Strength card. A lot of people is really what that means. Another 6 of Wands. Another court card. Okay. And Temperance. 4 of Coins. The Emperor. 7 of Swords. Okay. I feel like there's 2 versions of you here. there's like two minds going on with the Emperor and the King of Wands, and they're kind of the same, but also different in very distinct ways, and we'll certainly talk about that. So now we have the Moon card, we have the Page of Coins, we have the Five of Wands, and Ten of Wands. I think the entry to Pisces season will be a little interesting, specifically because of Venus being in Aries, which she'll be pre-retrograde. So it'll be an interesting entry. It'll be an interesting entry to Pisces season. So, okay, this is where we will pick up. So if you want to join for the comprehensive, again, the link will be in the description box and the comment thread down below. Thank you so much, Pisces. I hope you have an amazing month, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.